So what side hustles make the most money? In this video, you're going to learn surprising ways that you can make money with a side hustle that you could even blow up into a big full-time business, leaving your job and leaving your boss behind. Let's most importantly teach you today about how to build something with a future. Not just a few bucks on the side where you can go to Starbucks more often, but truly build an amazing future. So put on your seatbelt because you're going to learn some amazing things in this video. Well, some easy ones you can do that can actually, if you do it right, you can make decent money, or even driving for Uber or driving for Lyft. And the keys there, in my view, are get a bigger car so that you can do Uber XL because you make more money, and you can always drive regular Uber, and a bigger car is not that much more expensive. Even something like a Toyota Sienna minivan, which qualifies for the bigger car, and these things get like 36 miles per gallon, and they're bulletproof. Toyotas are bulletproof. I was driving with an Uber guy the other day. His Toyota had 300,000 miles on it. You'd never know it just because they're such solid vehicles. And the biggest secret is work at the times that's rush hour. You don't have to slug it out and waste your time during the day when there's not much going on. Go when it's really busy, when the rates get higher, when the occupancy gets higher, and drive during those times. And that's where you're going to make the most money is your side hustle. So that's the key to that. And secondly, if you're going to do other side hustles, there's some really good platforms where you make great money. TaskRabbit is one that you can work on. TaskRabbit, you just do things that people need done. And I was giving an example. The other day, I wanted tickets to go to the Denver Mint with my son. The Denver Mint, the only way you get tickets is you go there early in the morning, like 5 a.m., and you wait in line until they open the ticket window, and then you get a ticket. I'm not getting up at 5 in the morning. No, thank you. So I hired someone from TaskRabbit to go wait in line for me and get tickets. And TaskRabbit is like anything that you can do for someone else. Go to the store, go wait in line for tickets, take the car for service. All things that you make good money without spending money, without investing, without really developing a whole business. The problem with that is that it is limited. You're only going to make so much money doing those kinds of random things. If you have a skill that's highly sought after and a high level skill, then you can make some really good money on the online platforms like Upwork, where people pay to do more advanced things. They'll pay for research projects, they'll pay for writing projects, they'll pay for legal projects. I'm a lawyer, you may be a lawyer, who knows. You can get good money for that, and oftentimes those will graduate into longer term projects. You do a great job, people start paying you well, and you're getting steady work. You can make good money with those. But that's going to depend on you having a skill that's not just a random, like I'm going to do typing for you. It's something that's a higher level skill. You can make really good money with that. So that's another thing. If you have a skill, it could be bookkeeping, it could be law, it could be anything that's sort of a higher level professional skill. It can be copywriting, it can be doing online advertising. Those could be ways to make really good money. Another thing these days is doing AI consulting, because so few people and so few businesses know how AI works and can actually be implemented in their business. What you would most likely need to do is develop an expertise in AI, and you especially want to make it practical. And the strategy for this would be go learn it and then come up with some very specific things, like how car dealers can use AI. And then you go in and approach car dealers and say, hey, as a car dealer, here are the different ways you can use AI to make your business more efficient. And you don't want to be a generalist. Being a generalist is very difficult to market. You want to be a specialist where you can market and say, I can train your folks about how to use AI to make more sales or to sell more repair work or whatever they might be doing. Specialist and micro-niching is the way to make money, because a specialist gets paid a lot more than generalist. And just an example, who do you pay more? Your specialist doctor, like your brain surgeon or ear, nose, and throat specialist, or your general practitioner? And you know the answer to that. The specialist makes way more money, many multiples more money. It's exactly the same thing in business. Specialization pays more. Now, when you're considering your side hustle, I think you should look at something where you could grow it to a much larger business. Because for many people, once you get a taste of entrepreneurship where you're making your own money, where you don't have a boss who may be unskilled at their job and just a jerk, maybe making random rules, who knows? We all know we've all had bad bosses at times. Being your own boss and being an entrepreneur can be really great because you get rid of that. And I know as an entrepreneur myself, I get rid of all the work I don't feel like doing. which is a wonderful, wonderful thing, that when I don't feel like doing something, I get rid of it. Or if I have someone that I work with that I don't like, because I'm tired of them, I get rid of them. I get rid of them just because I don't want to deal with them. And as a boss, I get that pleasure. Now, do I take pleasure in firing people? Absolutely not. Do I fire many people? No. But I know ultimately that I can. And just knowing that is good enough, and it tends to get people to behave because they know if they irritate me too much, they won't be around for long. So I love that, and you probably love that too. So being an entrepreneur gives you control, but of course being an entrepreneur can be frightening because you say, well, how do I know it's going to work? Well, here's the thing. You start with your side business, side hustle, start building up customers, start building up systems and processes, and start building up cash flow, and then it's really easy to step out of a secure job into entrepreneurship because you're already making money. So the question is, what kinds of things would you do? And I'll give you an example of what I do so you can see. So I do this business called Overages, and I started it when many years ago a person came into my law office, had lost a property at a foreclosure auction, and he wanted to know if he could undo the auction. And sometimes as an attorney you can find a problem with the sale, a notice they didn't give, some technical defect, and undo the sale. The person still has to pay the taxes or the mortgage they didn't pay, but you can sometimes do that. So I looked at the case and said, this isn't going to work. But I said, you know what, your property sold for about $12,000 more than you owed on it, and I think I can get you that money back pretty efficiently. And I said, why don't I do that for you? So I went and I got him the $12,000 back, and he paid me and he was happy. And I discovered that that was a business because properties get lost at foreclosure auction every day. Matter of fact, it's over 3,000 properties per day get lost at tax auctions and mortgage foreclosure auctions. So there are thousands of these things happening, and many of them sell for a lot more than anybody owes. For example, tax sales, you're typically losing your house for not paying 3 to 4 years worth of taxes. That's probably in a $400,000 house, probably a $50,000 tax bill by the time it's all said and done with penalties and interest. That $400,000 house is probably selling for $200,000 or more. So you have this big gap. It sells for $200,000, you owe $50,000, there's $150,000 left over. That money is called overages, and what we do in my business is I reach out to the people and tell them about this money that they almost never know about. They're like, there's money that I could get? Where could that be? So we tell them there's money that we could help them get. We offer for a percentage, like contingent fee, to go get that money for them. And if we're successful, we get a percentage. If we're not successful, it doesn't cost them a penny. And we go and we get that money for them. The people are tickled pink. You get someone who lost a house at a foreclosure auction that gets $150,000 back. You could knock them over with a feather. They're so excited and so thrilled. And even if our fee was a $30,000 fee, think about it. They thought they had nothing, yet now they get a check for $120,000. They're happy to pay me. They're happy they met me, and it makes an amazing business. It's good business for good-hearted people that really want to help people and want to make great money. It's that combination. So if you want to know more about that, I put a link down below to my intro to the Overages business. You can learn more about that. Also on my channel, I share lots of information about that because that's my favorite business ever. And that's a business where you're getting paid really well because you're getting paid for the results that you bring, not for the time that you spend. And that is something very important. Important distinction as an entrepreneur. You want to get paid for your results because you can get paid a lot more for results. And examples are the Overages business is one. I typically spend 8 to 10 hours on a claim and make $30,000 or more per claim, which is pretty amazing. But it's because I'm being paid for the result. Because when I bring someone $150,000, they're not begrudging paying me $30,000. They're thrilled they met me. They don't know how much time I spent or didn't spend. And it's not a time-based sale. It's a value-based sale. Other examples of this are people that do sales. If you're a salesperson and you're selling millions of dollars worth of whatever it is that you sell, you can make millions of dollars yourself. Why is that? Because that's the value that you're bringing. So sales can be another aspect of that. It also happens to people that sell products, where if you get skilled at selling products, like I met a friend the other day who has a business doing supplements, and meaning like vitamins and things like that. And they're actually in major drugstores. And they developed this for many years ago. They started in the year 2000. They started developing supplements and they got them into like Walgreens and things like that. And those are sold by the Walgreens, not by them. And they're making money over all those millions and millions of supplements that are sold all the time. and they're making really great money. And it's not because, the person went to an Ivy League school or something like that. It's because they have a product where they have leverage, where someone else is selling it and they make a ton of money, and they're making millions doing that. So the key to your side hustle is do something where it has a future. Do something where you could build it into something more. And the ways to do that, you could look at Overages. I put a link down below with that. You could look at any number of online courses that will teach you how to do things. They'll teach you real estate investing, house flipping, being an online marketing agency. They'll teach you AI. And out of those things right now, if I were looking, I would be doing Overages. And if you don't want to do that, I would look at AI. I would become a deep expert in AI in a very specific niche. And I would become the man or woman who, if you have, say, a car dealer and you want to implement AI and make more money in your business, they're the person you hire. Because a car dealership where they have millions of dollars going through that thing every year, if you can improve them by 5%, that may make them an extra $1 million or $2 million a year. And again, you can make great money with that because you can get a percentage of the improvement. So that's a longer story for another day, but the thing you want to think about is becoming an in-demand specialist in something you can expand into a full-time business. And if you're doing AI consulting, you'd eventually have a consulting business where you'd be consulting to car dealerships or any other vertical. You could do plumbers, you could do pipe fitters, you could do apartment building owners, you do all kinds of things. I'd leave that up to you, but hopefully this is helpful to you, and I will see you next time.